The Friday Footy Show, proudly brought to you by Towards Zero for the 2018-19 TIO NTFL season. Well, we're well and truly back into the rhythm of things as we head into round 14 of the season. It's football galore this Saturday as all the men's Premier League games are being played across 3 separate locations. The action kicks off at 2 p.m. when Southern Districts host Tiwi Bombers out at Norbuilt Oval. The Bombers will be hyped coming off last weekend's win, while the Crocs will be keen to get one back after a 1-point loss in round 13. The Wanderers versus St Mary's match starts at TIO Stadium soon after at 2:30 p.m. Both teams are coming off losses and are in need of the 4 points. Following on from this, there will be Waratah and Nightcliff at 5 p.m. It's a must-win game for the Tars, but the Tigers will be keen to retain top spot on the ladder with another win. Rounding out the day at Asfield Oval, Palmerston will host the Darwin Buffaloes from 6 p.m. Eager to continue their round 13 winning momentum, and neither team will want to back down. Remember, you can watch all the footy action from wherever you are through AFLNT YouTube channel's live streams. Excitingly, this includes the big Women's Premier League game between Palmerston and the Buffettes. Tune in at 4 p.m. this Saturday to see some of our best female talent in action. While at Asfield Oval this weekend, we will be conducting another trial of membership scanning from 3 p.m. All clubs and members are reminded to have their passes on them at all times and present them at the gate for a quick scan prior to entry. As of Friday morning, 1 forfeit has been received. The Tracy Village Women's Premier League team has pulled out against Southern Districts, so when putting your tips in, be sure to tip Southern Districts. Leading on from this, as of round 14, 2 teams have been withdrawn from the under-18s. The Tiwi Bombers are no longer in the under-18s girls division, while the under-18 Tracy Village boys are out. As a result, the team that was scheduled to play Tiwi in the girls or Tracy Village in the boys will be allocated a bye. This weekend sees the return of the annual AFLW practice match between the Adelaide Crows and Fremantle at TIO Stadium. Free entry through both gates is from 6 p.m. and the game commences at 8 p.m. after the conclusion of the men's Premier League matches. Both sides will be testing out their new talent in a competitive hit-out, and you're sure to recognise a few faces amongst them, so bring down the family for what's set to be a great game. And thanks to the Northern Territory Government for continuing their support of the AFLNT and Crows Women's Alignment. No stranger to women's footy, we caught up with AFLNT's Manager of Community Football, Rosanna De Santis, to discuss the extreme weather policies the NTFL has in place. We also got a Club of the Year update and did a general check-in now that she's 3 months into her role.
Rosie, how are you settling into the role?
Settling in very well, I think. Very excited to have the new workmates that I work with. Very helpful, and thoroughly enjoying the job.
And we've seen the reintroduction of the Club of the Year competition. Tell us how it's going.
The Club of the Year award is going really well. Again, excited because exec made a decision in order to make it fair across the board, because we've got the 14 clubs, and it would be challenging for one of the new and emerging clubs like University Rats, so to speak, or Jabiru, who haven't the volume of members in their club. So we've split it to 2 clubs, being big club and small club, and therefore those clubs that have got less than 7 teams across the competition fit into the small, and the bigger ones obviously into the big clubs. So there's good prize money on offer, and it's tracking pretty well. It's changed across a couple of rounds, which is exciting because then clubs are obviously conscious of where they're sitting in the leaderboard and want to do the right thing. But I think the most significant thing for me to come out of it is that nearly all of the clubs have made a strong commitment to the domestic violence action plans as a part of their club, and so that's really, really fantastic. Showing the respect toward women and men and children within their clubs is a great thing.
Well, that's exciting, and we're keen to see how that pans out for the rest of the season. And last weekend we encountered some very wet weather. Can you talk us through the process for bad weather if a match is due to stop?
Yeah, so that bad weather last weekend was in relation to the lightning, and so we do have a national policy that covers those specific events, and I understand that was actually dealt with quite well, but to make things clear, obviously we have what's called a 30-30 scenario where you're timing from a lightning flash to you when you hear the thunder crash to know that the safe distance away is about 10 kilometres before when we'll stop a match. And then if a match is stopped, If we can't get it started in 30 minutes, the game will end. Then the only other consideration in relation to when that game ends is if it ends in the first half, so before the half time, and we have to stop and it can't start again, that'll be considered a washout. And we'd look to, if it's a Premier League match, when we can replay that. And the other one is if it stopped after the second half, so we're in third or fourth quarter, and we can't get started within 30 minutes, well then the game will be called and it will be the end of the game, and whatever scores are on the board will determine who the winner is.
And while we have you, we might get your tips for the Men's Premier League this weekend. Wanderers play St Mary's at TIO Stadium on Saturday afternoon.
Look, I think I like both of those clubs, but I think I reckon Wanderers might get up and have a win, to be honest, and I hope they do, and for for Scrubber's sake as well. So I think he's doing a tremendous amount of good work there, and so I hope he reaps some rewards from it.
And then followed by Nightcliff versus Waratah.
I think Nightcliff will take that one pretty easily.
Cool, we'll have to wait and see. And Southern Districts host Tiwi Bombers at their home ground at Norbuild Oval.
That's going to be super exciting. I think Districts will be looking to come back, but I just love that Tiwi football, and I do hope I know it'll be an entertaining game, but I do think Districts will probably be just that little bit too stronger and keen to get a win back on the board.
Yeah, it'll be interesting when Tiwi come off their win from last week. And Palmerston take on Darwin Buffaloes at Asfield Oval. How do you see that panning out?
Again, that'll be a good match, but I think the form of Buffs at the moment is going pretty good. Their win last week by a point will give them the courage they need to continue on with the good work, and so I think they'll take it on Saturday.
Thanks, Rosie, for catching up with us, and have a good weekend.
Oh, thank you, Merlene, and same to you. Enjoy your footy.
Before we go, let's look at round 13's play of the round winner. When voting closed this morning, Chris Atkinson from the Darwin Buffaloes picked up the $100 Intersport voucher for this impressive chase down and tackle in the big game against the Crocs. Congratulations to Brenda Atkinson, whose vote for Chris earned her the fan prize. That wraps up a Friday Footy Show for another week. Don't forget to get your tips in, and we'll see you at the footy.